It's 6 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, presented by students from Gardner-Edgerton High School.
For all.
1.3, approval of agenda.
I make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor? None opposed. 2.1, presentation by students from Gardner-Edgerton High School.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent Huff, Secretary Starling. When we start the school year, this particular date where we get to celebrate something at the high school just seems so far in the distance, but it's hard to believe that May and graduation, all of these things are right around the corner. So here we are, and we tried to whittle down our celebrations really to one that we would be honored to share with you tonight. And with that, I would like Asher, Janet, and Libby to join me here. Last year, our Principals Advisory Council, made up of student leaders, strongly encouraged me to find a way to celebrate students outside the scope of athletics and activities. That seed was planted, and our climate and culture subgroup of our building leadership team of teachers devised the school's first ever senior Ring of Honor in the tundra of our commons. Throughout this year, the faculty of our high school has nominated a total of 24 seniors with the criteria centered outside the scope of teenage popularity and instead focused on personal character qualities each of these seniors possess. They are honored for having recognizable character qualities such as integrity, compassion, and trustworthiness. We had 12 events throughout the year that would celebrate 2 seniors at a time, with their families and entire faculty present. Their banners have been proudly displayed in the ring and serve as a reminder to all Blazer students that walk the hallways that character is a critically important facet of maturing into the Blazer we hope they all are or becoming. Tonight we have 3 recipients, and it's going to be a great night in a few weeks when we do our senior honors night, as we're going to have all 24 on the stage together with their banners. And once they get their banners at Senior Honors Night, they get them for keeps. This was all a part of, give a shout out to Mr. Tim Brady and the foundation. This was all a part of a grant, and we were able to provide these banners for the students so that they can keep them. So these 3 students are representing a cross-section of 24 Blazers of character. And so we're grateful that they joined us tonight. And I think we have a cordless mic that maybe we could let the students introduce themselves.
Hey, I'm Asher Boyer. I'm a senior at the high school.
Yeah, hi, I'm Janet Newellfor, and I'm senior at the high school.
My name is Libby Fry, and I'm also a senior.
We'd like to know what you're doing next year.
Okay. I plan to attend the University of Kansas and pursue some sort of law degree, hopefully to get into politics or government.
Yeah, so I'm going to the University of New Mexico, and I'm going to study biochem.
Next year, I'm going to a 1-year Bible college in Korea.
How about that? I mean, that's amazing stuff, right? Yes. All right, Dr. Huff, we'd love to take a picture with you and a board member if we could do that. Thank you so much.
2.2, the Vote Yes campaign celebration.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about the bond campaign later, but I did want to thank personally our 3 members of the Vote Yes Committee, Mike Casey, Kaylee Lehman, and Laura Carpenter. And I've been looking around to see if they're here. There's Mike. Okay, come on up. They have placards up here. They didn't want to sit at their right seats. But as they come up, a big thanks to this crew who raised money, helped with signs, and a lot of social media recognition and social media presence. And it was, I hope not too much work. I hope not too stressful. Grueling, yes. Is that the word for it? Okay, good. I was hoping particularly you, Laura, would think it was grueling. That was the hope. We do really thank for the work you put in, as well as just putting yourself out there, because sometimes it can be a little scary. Getting into social media and putting yourself out there in favor of whatever the event may be. So we are very thankful for the work that you put into this, and we would like to recognize you in front of this group. So I say join me in a round of applause for our Vote Yes Committee. And we'd like to do a picture with y'all up here too, if you would.
Two point three, the winter activities and athletics recognition by Assistant Principal Jason Radel and Assistant Principal Michael Simpson.
I'll let all these guys get up here. We want to thank you for the opportunity to share in outstanding accomplishments of our winter athletes. Our winter sports programs are picked up right where our fall sports programs left off, with strong performances, growth, and success across the board. Our powerlifting team, led by Coach Riley down here in the blue polo. Powerlifting had another remarkable season. At the state championship, both our boys and girls teams were crowned 6A state champions. This marks back-to-back titles for the boys team. Michaela Cox, who is either at track or softball right now, one of those things. She was the #1 overall lifter at the meet. Coach Trowbridge and Washington have done an exceptional job building and leading this program. We're thrilled to be joined by the team captains tonight. Congratulations on your outstanding achievement. I'll go around and let you guys introduce yourselves in a minute. All right, on wrestling. Wrestling had a standout season under the leadership of Coach Courts, who was our regional coach of the year. The boys team won the regional championship and qualified 12 athletes to state, with Ty Hammers and Roman Klaus right here as finishing as state finalists and runners-up. While we'll miss Ty's leadership next year, we're excited to welcome Roman back for another year. The girls team made school history, winning the first regional championship in program history. They qualified 13 wrestlers for state, with returning state champion Maddie Riediger, who is only a sophomore, by the way, finishing second in one of the toughest weight classes in the state. We're incredibly proud of both teams and excited that the entire girls roster will return next season. A special congratulations to Coach Boyer, who's here with us tonight. He was the Assistant Coach of the Year voted on by the Kansas Wrestling Coaches Association. And last but not least, we have our bowling champion. One of the most inspiring stories of the winter came from our bowling program. Miranda Rogers became the first bowling state champion in school history. A four-time state qualifier, Miranda faced adversity when she injured her knee during regionals. Despite the injury, she pushed through to qualify for state and delivered a clutch performance, bowling a 696 series to win the title by 10 pins. Coach Wilson celebrated her achievement by securing a banner at Mission Bowl that now reads, "Home of a State Champion Bowler." Congratulations, Miranda, on this incredible accomplishment. We're incredibly proud of all our student athletes, not just for their performances in competition, but for their character, resilience, and sportsmanship they show every day. Thank you to the Board of Education, District Administration, our staff, and our community for your continued support. Our success is a reflection of the foundation you help us provide for our students each and every day. Thank you. I'm going to let these guys introduce themselves.
I'm Roman Klaus. I'm a junior in wrestling.
I'm Ty Hammers, and I'm a senior in wrestling.
I'm Madeline Reeniger, and I'm a sophomore in wrestling.
I'm Ryan Cole, and I'm a senior in powerlifting.
I'm Miley King, and I'm a senior powerlifter.
I'm Abby Callahan, and I'm a senior powerlifter.
I'm Miranda Rogers, and I'm a senior bowler.
I'm Noah Wilson, and I'm a senior powerlifter.
I'm Rylan Phillips, and I'm a senior powerlifter.
I'm Olive Kerner, and I'm a senior powerlifter.
And I'm Alex Marks. I'm a junior powerlifter.
Riley Trowbridge, head strength coach.
Nate Boyer, super senior.
Before I get started, I'd like to invite the robotics team that's here to represent activities this evening up to the front. Come on, front. Lead them out there, Cindy. There you go. I just want to take the opportunity to thank you for the opportunity to share highlights of our activity success at the high school this winter. Thank the board, Dr. Huff, Central Office Administration, and our building administration for their support of our students and programs. We've just got a couple to highlight, and then we'll get to this fantastic group of kids right up here in the front. Our cheerleading squad, our competitive cheerleading team, headed to Orlando in February to compete in the National Cheerleading Championships. For the second time in program history, they qualified for the semifinal round, but were unable to make finals, missing by an eyelash. Remarkably proud of this group and excited to see what the future holds. I'm always impressed with our kids. They kind of got a bad deal. There was a computer glitch. They performed, were pretty devastated, and about 6 minutes later got called back for a chance to perform a second time, and they pulled it together and did a great job. I was very impressed. It's a good group of kids. Our competitive dance team also went to Orlando in February. They had the opportunity to take some master classes from some respective teachers in the dance community and got to train for an hour with the Classy Cats from K-State. The ladies were unable to qualify for finals this year with their pom and jazz routines. They're a talented group. They competed well in what turned out to be remarkably competitive divisions. Their future is remarkably bright. Our Scholars Bowl team is the best we've had in quite some time. They competed in a very difficult regional here in the Northeast, but were not able to qualify for state. Our color guard, or our flag team, competed in 2 top-level regional competitions in Missouri this year. It was an eye-opening experience for them, but they continue to improve and are excited for the coming year. It's a group of ladies that decided being okay wasn't okay. And they asked their coach to take them to that next level up of competition. Color guard's a big deal in Missouri. And so they competed in 2 top tournaments there and got their eyes open to what that looks like, but I think it's motivated them to do better and prepare, and they're excited about the coming season. This past Sunday, the Fine Arts program had several students compete in the Shooting Stars Gala at Johnson County Community College. Kyla Burnside, Charlie Godsell, and Danielle King all were finalists. Kyla and Danielle were runners-up in their categories and received scholarships. I would like to, a last-minute addition, I found out late last week, 4 of our students competed in the state personal finance competition, and they won. They have won an all-expense-paid trip to Atlanta. It was sort of a last-minute deal. Dr. Booth was good for work. Hopefully we can get that approved tonight, but it's it's a really cool deal, something I've learned about a great deal in the last 48 hours. The team of 4 were given a packet of information about a fictitious family, and they had 2 hours to put together a financial plan for them to meet certain goals, and then they had to give a presentation to a group of experts and answer questions on that, and they were chosen state champions, and so they'll get to compete at the national level in June. And then I want to talk about this remarkable group of young folks here. This is our robotics team. Tonight we have Gabby Johnson, Simeon Dermeyer, Jager Anderson, and Justin and Elijah Siribury. Did I get that? It's close? All right, thank you. I wish that I could tell you that I understood the organization of their meets. What I know is this. For the first time ever, we had 2 teams compete. In the past, I think we've been happy to be there and just learned and wanted to make some friends and do the best we could. And this year, a big step was taken forward. We finished in the top 3rd at our league. I've learned that league in robotics essentially means all of the metro for Kansas City. Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, and it's everybody. Okay, so it's a huge group of teams, and we were in the top 3rd. One of our teams just missed out on, they were in the finals and just missed out on a pretty good placing. And they thought they were done. And at the last minute, we got an invitation to compete in the next level of competition. It's called the District Super Qualifier. And I think they performed significantly better than they dreamed was possible there. They represented their team well. The thing that I think is really neat, they build the robots, they have to accomplish the things, they have to compete. But there's also a huge component where they have to present and answer questions about what they've done. And then they form alliances with other teams, and there's some teamwork with people you're competing against. So it's sort of a unique experience, but it's very cool. And again, I'm very proud of them and what they did this year. They took a huge step forward, and so I just want to take a second, give them a chance to introduce themselves. And again, thank you for the opportunity and the support.
I'm Justin Siriboy, and I'm a senior.
I'm Elijah Siriboy, and I'm a junior.
I'm Gabby Johnson, and I'm a junior.
I'm Jager Anderson, and I'm a senior.
I'm Simeon Dermeyer, and I am also a senior.
Thank you, guys.
2.4, the 2024-25 Kansas Teacher of the Year recognition.
All right. Bev, you want to come up first? Do you have your, would you mind bringing that with you?
That's the
Oh,
box.
never mind, you can leave that there. Yep, just kidding. Bev, yeah, right? Okay. Got it? I think so. Okay. It's gonna have fingerprints on it. Stand out here while Good evening, good evening, board members. Have the privilege of recognizing our Kansas Teacher of the Year nominees. So just this past Sunday, Dr. Huff, myself, Dr. Marshall, Ms. Peak, Director Witter, Shea, all had the opportunity to go and celebrate with the Kansas State Department of Education. And as a reminder, the Kansas Teacher of the Year program aims to identify, recognize, and utilize representatives of excellent teaching in the state's elementary and secondary classrooms. So Bev was our elementary representative this year, and as you know, she's an early childhood teacher at Sunflower Elementary. Bev has taught in the Gardner-Edgerton School District for the past 38 years. 39th. She is currently an early childhood climb teacher, which we would incentivize any of you if you could remember what that stands for. So I wrote it down: communications, life skills, inclusion, motor, medical, and behavior teacher at Sunflower Elementary, supporting preschool age children with communication, life skills, and medical, motor, and or behavioral needs. Prior to this, she taught for 8 years as an early childhood special education teacher and 25 years as a kindergarten teacher, also at Sunflower Elementary. Bev also serves as a district mentor and is part of various leadership teams, including Sunflower's Building Leadership Team, the district's Professional Development Council. She's also a local teacher, active in the local teacher association, GENEA, and serves on the negotiations team. So not only is she outstanding in the classroom, she's also doing that outside of the classroom as well, or demonstrating that excellence. So just a couple comments from folks who wrote letters of reference for her. Wanted to highlight a couple things. The first is from Jason Jones, who, as you know, works over here. He shared as a preschool special education teacher, Mrs. Furlong demonstrates unparalleled dedication to her students, approaching each day with compassion, creativity, and a steadfast commitment to their growth and success. She skillfully integrates direct instruction with play-based learning opportunities, incorporating movement, creative expression, music, exploration, and socialization. And I thought this next story that was shared by a parent was especially powerful. So this father wrote, "So when my son started school, a little school bus took him to school, and a little bus brought him home. About halfway through the school year, after a bus change, a little bus took him to school, and a big bus was now bringing him home. Well, my son was not up for this change and didn't want to ride the little bus anymore, and he let the folks know about it. Basically, we were having some real issues getting him on the little bus and his behavior on that bus. So what does Mrs. Furlong do? Well, she showed up at my house on Sunday evening with a book she had personally written and illustrated specifically for my son, with his name and situation he was dealing with, and talked about. She not only showed up to give the book to my son, but she also sat on my couch and read this book to him multiple times. And for the next month, I read this book to him every night. Guess what? My son has never had an issue getting on the big bus again. I'm not sure if this is a common strategy you learn when going to school to become a teacher, but my gut tells me Mrs. Furlong went above and beyond, and I can't thank her enough." So I think that says a lot about Bev and her work. So we wanted to invite you and thank you for all that you're doing and congratulate you. So congratulations. And now if you'll just wait here for a minute. So Wade, I saw Wade McNanny is also here. So I also have the opportunity to recognize Wade McNanny, who is a mathematics teacher at Gardner Edgerton High School. Wade is our secondary representative, and we were also all surprised on Sunday evening when he made it to the semifinals. So out of all the teachers that were in the room, he was a semifinalist. So that says a lot about his work as well. Wade has been an educator at Gardner Edgerton High School for the past 5 years, where he teaches a range of mathematics courses, including Algebra 1A, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Advanced Placement Statistics. His teaching career spans over 21 years, having previously taught in a neighboring district for 16 years. Wade was instrumental in getting the BSA, which is the program we started this year for some non-traditional students, and teaching in that program. So I also highlighted a few things that were shared by his references. The first came from Mr. Bell. Frank writes, Wade's commitment to lifelong learning is evident in his continuous pursuit of professional development. He regularly engages in workshops, seeks out new methodologies, incorporates innovative teaching practices into his curriculum. Passion for student success is at the heart of Wade's teaching philosophy. He goes above and beyond to create an inclusive and engaging classroom environment where all students feel valued and capable. He actively seeks opportunities to work with fellow educators, sharing best practices and developing cross-disciplinary projects that enhance the learning experience for all. And then finally, Mr. Radel, athletic director, wrote, I am proud to have Wade on our staff at the high school. The work that he does daily, the dedication to his students, and most importantly, the dedication that he has to his family. Wade is an exceptional teacher, but he is an even better person should strive for. So, Wade, we're proud to have you in our school district, and the students and your colleagues at the high school are lucky to have you as well. So thank you and congratulations.
All right, we have nothing for 3.1. 4.1, hearing of requests and suggestions of citizens and organizations. We have 2 speakers for tonight. The first one will be Ashley Smith, followed by Monica Brown. Is Ashley Smith here? All right, it's just you, Monica.
Good evening. So I'd like to talk tonight about safety in our schools. And I'm speaking tonight in the capacity of a parent of 2 who went through K through 12 in our district and as a community member. I was a youth sponsor for almost a decade, and as such, I was a trusted adult for dozens of high school students. I took my responsibility seriously, and I honored the students' privacy, except in any situation in which they could be considered harmful to themselves or others. And as such, I was the safe space for discussions about bullying, eating disorders, relationships, the lasting impacts of divorce. Basically, a safe adult for kids who felt their world did not understand them. I know many kids don't have the luxury of a trusted adult inside or often outside their home. And for those kids, I am so incredibly grateful for our Gardner Edgerton staff who have created spaces that are safe for them to come and be who they are and to talk about what is haunting them, whether it be how they can't seem to get a handle on their grades, how they are facing the devastating effects of bullying, how they have been sitting with the heartbreak of a breakup, or how they are simply struggling with being teenagers in a world that is becoming more and more a place that does not accept anything less than perfect from them, and which is quick to persecute them on a worldwide stage of social media. I am proud of our educators who are trusted adults for our younger citizens, who have created a space that allows them to feel safe talking about their childlike love of Pokemon in a world of TikTok trends, or about the wearing effects of maltreatment from their peers. I am thankful that we have adults in our schools who recognize the challenges of being a teenager and who genuinely hear them, and with whom the kids feel heard in the midst of those. This is the Gardner I hope we, as citizens who dream of a bright future for our city, are proud of and would want to be known for. I know I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. 5.1, grants and donations, presented by Greg Chapman.
All right, for Gardner Elementary, we had an anonymous donor for negative meal accounts, $160. For Moonlight Elementary, we had Daylight Donuts for staff treat, 2 dozen donuts, and DAR all staff treat, candy and cookies for all staff. Madison, all of our amazing Madison families for Family Fun Night event, donated gently used books. Pioneer Ridge Middle School, anonymous donor for student fees, $340. PRMS PTO provided for the 5th grade and 8th grade field trips for a total of $1,000. Gardner Edgerton High School had an anonymous student fees donor, $327.50. And then Joy's Closet, snacks for alternative school students, bottled water, Capri Suns, and snacks. And at the district office, we had an anonymous donor for negative meal balances for $307.75. Altogether, the generosity of this community was $2,135.25 plus supplies. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg, and thanks to the generous donors. Consent agenda, 6.1, minutes of the regular meeting held on March 10th, 2025. 6.2, minutes of the BOE goals meeting held on March 31st, 2025. 6.3, approval of idea assurances, LEA 6-B. 6.4, December 2024 KASB recommended policy updates. 6.5, approval of contracts and purchases. 6.6, resource requests for curriculum. 6.7, library and media center guidance and procedure document. 6.8, USD 231 out-of-state travel. 6.9, professional development 5-year plan. 6.10, memorandum of understanding approvals. 6.11, financial statements. And 6.12, approval of claims.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed? Nothing for 7. 8.1, Superintendent Dr. Brian Huff.
Thank you, President Redden. All right, we do have one big item to thank the community for, and that is what we mentioned earlier with the thanks of our Vote Yes Committee, the thanks to our community for approving the bond that we have coming up. And we thank you for the dedication that this community has to giving our students the very best facilities along with the programs that we have. We depend on you, obviously, our community, to support this district and all of the programs that we have going on inside of it. And we have the best facilities around to show for that. And it does show the pride that we have in the programming and the students that we have here, that this community is willing to dedicate that kind of money to our kids. And we're going to be good stewards of that money. And we've had a lot of discussions about that, and we've had community meetings. If you are at all interested in the details and how we're going to spend that money, we do have details on our website right now, and we will be putting up more detailed timelines as we get into the nitty-gritty about what the future holds for us. Particularly, I know everybody's got an individual question about how it impacts them. When are they going to see that new playground at Madison, or When are we going to open the new elementary school, or when is Sunflower going to actually be converted over to an early childhood center? We'll have all of those timelines up, and I think one of the biggest questions that I've received is, when am I going to know which elementary school my student goes to? And we are going to be involving the public heavily in this process, and the board as well, as we go through the arduous process of determining what those boundary lines look like, because we want to hear from our public, because it obviously impacts you greatly. So there are a few things that I wanted to say, talk about right now as far as details go. Obviously, we're selling $100 million worth of bonds, and we're going to sell those bonds and finance it over 25 years. We're anticipating an interest rate of 4.5%. That's a really nice interest rate on bonds. As a matter of fact, that interest rate is so good that we're looking at refinancing our 2016 A bonds at that same rate. We'll look to save us about $3 million in interest. This board is going to have the opportunity next month to officially vote on that, on adopting those two sales, the reissuing of 2016 bonds, the refinancing, and then the issuing of the $100 million bonds that we just approved with the voters. So that'll be coming next month. Piper Sand will be here to walk us through that. These are huge decisions for this board, and I want to give a huge shout out to our board, because that was the biggest financial decision this board has ever made. It is a huge deal, and the weight that is on the shoulders of these 7 members is tremendous, and I think that should not go without a big thanks to you all as well for the tremendous support that you show our students. Thank you very much. On a lighter note, I would like to invite you all to our retirement dinner that's coming up this Thursday. Just a reminder, we'll be celebrating, I think it's 6 retirees. I'm looking at Ben if he remembers the exact number. I believe it's 6. Yeah, 16 retirees total, and we're going to have 6 that are going to be at the celebration. So it's nice to be able to give them a little bit of props, Melissa being one of them. So there you go. Thank you, Melissa. All right, that's all I've got tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Huff. 8.2, comments by Board of Education.
I just had one quick note. Since our last meeting, I wanted to send a special note of thanks to all the folks involved in our special education program with the resource fair hosted at Nike. It was a lot of work to pull that event off. They had a wonderful group of vendors that were able to show up. They had nice attendance for the night, and I know they took a lot away from how they can even improve that more and bring those resources to the families. The vendors that were there that evening, I think there's a lot of conversation between them to find out how they can better provide some of the services where they align with. So a lot to come from that, but I know, and I don't want to say the names because I'll leave folks out, but Shay and her team worked really hard to pull the resources in to help our special population families, and I appreciate that effort. And then Nike for hosting the night in the janitorial teams that had to stay late and take care of that for us. So that was great. So thank you very much.
All right. I had the pleasure of going to the Rock the Walk event at Wheat Ridge. Normally that field in the past gave me nightmares, but it was actually a lot of fun to watch the kids playing around, and it was really cool to watch the sheriffs teaching them jujitsu moves. It was actually a lot of fun. And then also, with it being Neurodiversity and Autism Awareness Month, I just wanted to let everybody know there's some really cool books. I believe some of them in our libraries. If not, Johnson County Library has them. Of course, my phone shuts off right then. Just Ask and Just Help from Sonia Sotomayor. All the Way to the Top by Annette Bay Pimentel. And Planting Stories by Anika A. Dennis. These are fantastic books for learning more about people who are a little bit different than others. It helps you really understand that you can ask, you can talk, you can learn more about your peers regardless of what's going on. So these are fantastic books, and I definitely recommend you check them out. That's all I got.
All right. That will bring us to 10.1, annual Chromebook refresh for student services.
Okay, so this is for our Chromebooks for our incoming 5th graders and 9th graders for next school year. 1,200 Chromebooks, a little less than 500 per class, and gives us a couple hundred for spares and for our new teachers. Includes the case and the white glove service and the Chrome license. So pretty much an annual thing that we do every year. We've got a nice rotation going since 2015 where we get new Chromebooks for 5th graders and 9th graders, and they keep them for 4 years and keep that rotation going. One thing that is different this year is Acer came in a little bit better. We think it's a better product, and it was a few dollars cheaper than Dell. So we're switching from Dell to Acer for those 2 grade levels.
I just had a question kind of separate to this. When will we be renewing for the younger grades?
We never really have renewed for the younger grades. We've always taken the best of the seniors and 8th graders Chromebooks and passed them down. I think the only time we've really bought new for the younger grades was during COVID. So don't really have a plan for that. We just, whenever there's a problem with them, we replace them with another good one.
Okay.
One thing too that I'd like to add is with the tariffs and all of that, Acer and every company is trying to do this. They actually tried to renegotiate our price last week, and I held my ground with them, and they did ask me to do like a letter of understanding that for me to commit to us buying these with approval. But had we not done that, Acer was going to raise the price. I think from Wednesday to Thursday, they raised their price of these Chromebooks by $50 a piece, so $60,000. So hopefully I'm glad we got this one in just in time to not have those raises, but we're going to start to see that with a lot of technology, I'm sure, in the upcoming future.
Well, before they change their mind, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed. 10.2 ESOL programming.
Good evening again. As you may be aware, the students at Grand Star Elementary that are English language learners is increasing, and it is increasing every year. And so this past fall, we did extensive research on what may be a more manageable model long term. And so I just wanted to highlight, you've had that research, so I just want to highlight a couple items in this report and then hopefully answer any questions that you might have. So as we were looking at different options for the programming, our operational considerations were we wanted to impact the fewest number of families possible. We wanted it to be cost neutral, so no increase in staffing. A goal was to decrease the number of EL students in any one general education classroom while working to maintain a peer group for students in that classroom. Transportation was one of our considerations for those students. Limiting the number of moves a family may experience with potential boundary changes in a couple years because of the new elementary building. Keeping in mind the concept of a feeder system. Interpreters. Communication with families that may be necessary and the impact of changes on those families. And then staff members' effective use of time, so also being mindful of trying to limit, if we were going to look at 2 different schools or across the entire district, travel between schools. And then last thing was certification for those teachers. So after a lot of research, our recommendation at this point is to develop a second ELL center at Moonlight Elementary. So we would maintain the center at Grand Star, but then we would start, if you will, a second program at Moonlight Elementary. The advantages of doing that, we're talking about 25 students. Those 25 students that are currently at Grand Star are dispersed across all grade levels, so we wouldn't overload a grade at Moonlight. And those are the home school for all of those students is Moonlight. So that's where they would be going if they weren't going to Grand Star specifically for EL services. So we feel like this is a win. And we were also able to, the way that it would work out is that staffing would be able to remain the same. We wouldn't need to make any additions to our staff to make this work. So again, a 12-page document summarized for you in about a minute, but happy to answer any questions the team is. I'm happy to do so.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve item 10.9. Oh, I just read that wrong. 10.2 ESL programming for educational services.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed.
Thank you.
10.3, 2025-26 non-resident enrollment approvals.
Can you bring up the presentation? Good evening. I'm here to discuss the implementation of policy JBCC, enrollment of non-resident students. As you recall, we adopted this policy last year, but in compliance with the statute and the policy, we're asking the board to approve the open seats, which is something, again, we did last year, and then we published the open seats. These are basically the spaces for non-resident students in our buildings. Minus my notes here, this is a report which we'll publish to parents, community members, and our staff to see. The application window actually opened on January 1, and as you'll see, runs through June. To date, we've had 11 applicants or applications. So I really don't anticipate there's going to be a crush of applicants that overwhelms the district. Last year we had 6 total. The important reminders, the process in this report is based on the exact same methodology we used last year, so you'll recognize it. The proposed open seats are intended to be budget neutral. Non-resident students will be accommodated within the planned 25-26 staffing levels. The approach protects capacity for move-ins, new resident students. This approach protects capacity in our specialized programs. We were just talking about that. Special education, ESOL, Blazer Success Academy. This approach, again, protects capacity in those programs. Ultimately, this approach protects the operational integrity of each building, ensuring an optimal learning environment for students and work environment for staff. Also, I'd like to point out the community just gave us permission to spend $100 million increasing capacity. I'd like to think that that vote means we're going to protect the access to those facilities to our resident students. So again, this is why we're taking the cautious approach. Furthermore, boundary changes are forthcoming. Again, we must ensure non-resident students do not complicate the outcome for our resident students and families. Okay, our position as it was last year, within these reasonable and prudent parameters, we welcome non-resident students, okay? So this is the actual report. Again, this is what we'll publish for the community and parents in the community to see. Some language at the top just references the policy and just reminds folks, kind of a disclaimer, non-resident parents, that we are not guaranteeing the exact seat or exact building, even if we accept their application. And then again, students, resident students will have first priority. The timeline's included. Again, tonight, we had to do it before May 1st, so tonight you're going to approve the open seats, and then we're going to publish those before June 1st, so we'll publish those tomorrow or later this week. The application window for parents is January 1 to June 30th, and then we would notify parents on or before July 15th. So you'll recognize this is the exact same process we went through last year. Below are the building and grade level capacity limits. So it's kind of a two-prong test. The first prong is the overall building capacity. Is the building at 85% capacity or above? And the only building that is Madison. So Madison is out of play. Madison is not going to get any non-resident students because as a building, they're at or near capacity. So that's number 1 down here. And then we go to prong 2, and that's to look at grade levels. So again, we're using a lower limit per section, per grade level in each building, and I'll show you the spreadsheet here in a second so it makes sense. So if a school building has a grade level below these projections down here, then they do have capacity. And as you'll see, we do have some capacity at every grade level. Not necessarily every grade level at every building. So again, the same approach we took last year. And keep in mind, these lower limits here in 2 and 3, those are below our staffing matrix that we use every year. So again, taking a very cautious approach to this. So again, we'll share this with the public. I'm going to click on this link here that takes you to this elaborate spreadsheet. I've gone line by line. Left side of the spreadsheet is that building capacity. So if we go down to Madison, we're projecting or anticipating 573 students. That's 90% of capacity, so we don't even get into this grade level analysis. Right? On the other hand, if you look at another building, let's say Pioneer Ridge, they're not at building capacity, so we have to start looking at the projected enrollment for each grade, how many sections we're going to have, and if the total seats for projected enrollment is below the total seats here, then we have capacity. Capacity is noted here. As we did last year, we put a hard cap of 2 on any grade level. So I am showing that we have additional capacity in some of these grades, but if it's greater than 2, we're capping it at 2. That's the approach, if you remember, we took last year, again, to maintain kind of a maximum level of control over all this. So that's here for all the grade levels and all the buildings. This will be public information. And what does it lead to? It leads to this simple spreadsheet that tells the whole world where our open available seats for non-resident students can be found. So again, just Madison, 0 across the board. The other ones, it's based on the analysis I did. And Madison and the high school are the only buildings that have capacity at every grade level. So again, the actual report will have some disclaimers at the bottom. Again, allowing us to have control over the whole process and be flexible where we need to be. That we may have to make some changes in the best interest of our students and staff. So total number of available seats for next year is 61. Last year we had 54. The bulk of the applications that I've received to date are elementary, and there's probably 3 or 4 middle school. I don't have one actually I have one high school applicant. So it should be very manageable, especially under these conditions that we've set. I know I've thrown a lot at you. Questions? If you're as comfortable this year as you were last year, I would appreciate a request for you to adopt the report and the included open seats for 25-26.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? None opposed.
Thank you.
Ten point four, executive session for attorney-client communication.
If you hand it here, I can.
You need to tell him how much time? You need to tell him how much time?
All right, we're back in session and on to 10.5, executive session for confidential student information.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss confidential student information pursuant to the exception relating to actions adversely or favorably affecting a student under a coma, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 7:20. The board would like to invite Dr. Marshall, Dr. Huff, Dr. Booth, and Shay Carter into executive session.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed. All right, we're back in session and on to 10.6, executive session for land and property acquisition.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss potential properties for land acquisition pursuant to the exception for preliminary discussion of the acquisition of real property under coma, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 7:35 PM. The board would like to invite Dr. Huff, Dr. Booth, Dr. Marshall, consultants, Mark DeWitt, and Amy Drogemeyer into executive session.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed. We're back in session and on to 10.7, action on land and property.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchasing of land and property related to the service center as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed. 10.8, executive session for negotiations.
What do you think, Jody?
Sorry, just a little later.
Okay.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss the board's professional negotiation priorities and parameters with its chief negotiators pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under COMA. And the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 7:45 PM. The board would like to invite Dr. Huff, Dr. Marshall, Dr. Booth, Mark Meyer, Amy Drogemeyer into executive session.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed. All right, we're back in session. And on to 10.9, executive session for personnel.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss the human resources personnel report pursuant to non-elected personnel, exception under coma, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 7:55 PM. The board would like to invite Dr. Huff, Dr. Marshall, Dr. Booth, and Mark Meyer into executive session.
Second.
All those in favor? None opposed. We're back in session and on to 10.10, action on personnel.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the personnel items as presented.
I'll second it. All those in favor? None opposed. 11.1, adjournment of meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor? None opposed. 12.1, the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Education will be held on Monday, May 12th, 2025 at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom.